Good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace. Tonight, we're going to be covering the Karen Reed retrial. Day 22, right, Ed? Day 22, Dr. Welcher cross-examination by Robert Alessi. He did an unbelievable job playing dentist today. It was like pulling teeth to get an answer out of this doctor. What is wrong with this guy? By a show of hands in the chat, how many of you were frustrated if you were listening live? I had the option of listening after the fact, and it was frustrating to me because I was at work. So I listened after. If I was listening to live, I'd be screaming at the TV or my phone. Ed, your thoughts on day 22 and the merry-go-round, the playing of the games by Dr. Welcher. He wasn't answering questions.
This is my thoughts. Okay, I got to keep my medicines and my blood pressure medication, all this stuff because of this frustrating testimony of watching this shit. This guy is unfreaking believable. Gives forensics a total black eye. I'm so disgusted with him. Okay, and the nonsense that he's pulling. You know, this isn't science. This isn't even in engineering. I don't know what this guy is doing. He's doing a dog and pony show. Okay. He's, when you don't got nothing, you dazzle them with bullshit. Okay.
And it seemed like there was a whole huge pile of bullshit, Ed. Just unbelievable. It was frustrating for us as professionals. Could you imagine the regular lay person and the jury? I'm thinking of the jury here. They had to have been like, what in God's name is going on? Why doesn't this guy answer a question? What are they trying to hide that he can't outright answer a question? And Alessi, he was asking questions very precisely. He was trying to be precise in the questions he was asking him, but he kept making it difficult. Ed, let me see what you got.
9 pages worth of notes from this asshole's testimony. Okay. Unfreaking believable. Whatever certifications he has, he should have them removed. Okay. There was a whole lot of testimony about bias, confirmational bias, and all these other things. He is the epitome of bias, what he did. Okay. He took the word of the police officers about where things were found and how they were found with no documentation, no chain of custody, nothing to back up any of this. All right. And he just focused in on that one theory. And he didn't even talk about the damage to the hoodie. Yeah, he went out and bought all the clothing to match Officer John O'Keefe's clothing that he wore that night, which was freaky cosplay. Okay. But he didn't look at those damage on that shirt properly to assess that there were circular entrance and elliptical, elongated exits. The entrances went in, pushing the fibers in. The elongated elliptical exits pulled the fibers out as it exited. There is nothing on that tail light that was remaining that could have caused that to occur, and the injuries to his arms, which he tried to do. Then he has the balls to insult the medical examiners in this case. Okay. Yeah. I don't know if you all saw that, but that had me pulling my hair out of my head. Any further with this trial, I'm going to end up looking like Ron.
Yeah, well, that might not be a bad look for you. It was a slippery slope that Dr. Welcher went on when that part of the testimony happened, because Alessi, he homed in on that and he did some backpedaling. But it was also interesting to me that, Ed, he was keeping his laptop open. He had that.
Oh my God.
And lifeguard Bev, who usually doesn't come to the aid of the defense, she kept telling him, look, you got to shut this stuff down. You got to close it. That took up valuable time today. And it was really a joke. It was a joke to watch it on the replay. It was a joke to probably see it live. I know a lot of people are frustrated in the chat. There was talk about the fractures, and there was no possible fractures to his arm, because now he brought out in his testimony that he didn't see any x-rays of John O'Keefe's arm. Ed, I know we're getting out of order, but can you talk about that and how that was very surprising for me to hear that.
Yeah, well, he's saying, well, you don't know if there's a hairline fracture in that right arm. Look, the doctor is triple board certified. If the protocol for everybody entering the morgue is to X-ray their entire body, which is not the case,
Right.
okay, then it would have been done, but it's not. That's not the case. And then she did the autopsy. She trigger alert. These bodies get filleted, right? That they cut the skin off and peel back the layers. And when you have injuries like that, there's going to be an examination. They're going to feel the arm, right, to see. And the doctors at the emergency room, all of that is done looking for breaks in the arm, and nobody documented any breaks.
Right.
Okay. So, give me a break with this idiot. All right. He says, I don't have a dog in this hunt or
in the fight.
Right. In this fight. I don't have a dog in this fight. And I don't care the outcome. You should care.
I don't care. Yeah.
This poor woman's life is on the line. Her freedom is on the line, and you should care. Okay. No, but you took the word of the detectives. You took hook, line, and sinker. They reeled you in like a trout. Okay. And said, this is that. And you just bought it because like today, it's like when he was being cross-examined by Alessi about, the tail light fragments. He said, he was questioning Alessi about the tail lights, that he had no clue that there's any controversy around those taillight pieces and how they got there.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the $350,000 plus $44,500 that was paid. That is slated to be paid by the by the Commonwealth. The North Fork County DA's office contracted them. He signed the contract, and then when he was questioned about it, because of course Alessi had that information right in front of him, he played like oh no, that's accounting. I don't know anything about that. That's another bullshit flag, as you would say, Ed.
Oh yeah, I was throwing bullshit flags on the field all day today. Okay, I mean, it was just like one stupidness after the next, and it just kept on coming, and the hits just keep on coming, or like the commercial says, but wait, there's more.
Right. By the way, people are asking about the jersey. That's why I put us up close. This is the NYPD K9 Bureau Transit K9 hoodie. K9 Val, K9 69, and it is Cacavalli. He was killed in the line of duty way back in the day, and Carla Cacavalli, I bought this from her as a fundraiser for her dad, who was killed in line of duty. Let's play this little piece.
Rest in peace. Wait.
You're back.
Yes. So this shirt, is Wallace Bagpipes in Edinburgh, Scotland.
Ooh, I like that.
Hold
Wallace Bagpipes. Yeah. People are asking. Look at this. Wallace Bagpipes, Edinburgh, Scotland. All right, let's get to this piece. We're going to play it. This is just an overview of today, and then we're going to jump in to this, what can we call it? This teeth pulling session today. It's a fair that's a fair that's a fair marker of what today's was. This was like sitting through teeth being pulled. Thank you, Evie, for gifting 10 memberships.
Tonight, back on the stand, a second full day of testimony for the prosecution's final witness.
Whether that is consistent with a collision or a impact with Mr. John O'Keefe.
It is consistent with a collision.
But this time, the defense got their chance to cross-examine him.
Ask me about the opinion of a medical examiner. I'm not a medical.
Only one person at a time.
How the defense worked to poke holes in his findings. But was this approach effective? Plus, a key ruling from the judge.
The jurors are as well positioned to draw or reject the inference as is the expert.
Our legal experts break down the importance of her decision. Canton Confidential, the Karen Reed murder trial.
Now, by the way, Karen had nothing to say at the end of court today. She came outside alone, which was interesting. And she said, I have no comment. We played former disgraced Trooper Michael Proctor's testimony from the trial number 1. And the reason we played that on the premiere tonight, for those of you who were there and watched it, put a 1 in the chat if you saw the premiere. That was right before the show, and it led you straight to here. The reason we play that tonight is because we want you, if you're just watching the trial for the first time, this is the retrial. If you missed the first trial, we wanted you guys to see and hear disgraced, fired Trooper Michael Proctor's testimony about the vile text messages that he sent back and forth to not only his friends, but also his sister. And he shared Karen Reed's arrest photo, which is a big no-no. He got fired for that. He called her some vile words, and he, early on, 17 hours into this investigation, he already had Karen Reed as the number 1 defendant in the murder of police officer John O'Keefe. He had his mind made up the night of this murder. He did not have any video. He did not have any evidence that he looked at. And that's the reason we set that up for you tonight. And some people were confused about it, but that's the reason we wanted to show that, Ed, is to let you guys know how this case started. In the infancy stages of this case, he was pinning it on the girl. He was saying nobody's going to catch anything that lives inside 34 Fairview, meaning the Alberts. So important for us to see that. Ed, I know you were typing back in the chat. People asked if you play the bagpipes. Yes, Ed plays the bagpipes. He has played the bagpipes on a live stream, members only. And that is a whole nother story in itself. But Ed did play the bagpipes for us on a members only in the past. So if you're not yet a member, become a member and go and watch that. Let's listen to the rest of this because they talk a little bit about today.
Starts now.
For the second straight day, we saw only one witness take the stand. The difference today was who got to ask questions of Dr. Judson Welcher. Good evening, I'm Glenn Jones.
And I'm J.C. Monahan. Today, the defense got their chance to cross-examine Welcher. Robert Alessi had the job to do that today and spent the day crossing him. Our Melody Mendez has been covering it all from the courthouse in Dedham. Melody?
JC, Glenn, look, Robert Alessi went item by item, picking apart Welcher's testimony from the day prior, basically pointing at information that he says Welcher did not consider when coming up with potential theories. He focused on what he didn't have versus what he did. Take a look. Robert Alessi started his cross focusing on the importance of being objective, asking Dr. Welcher about confirmation bias when someone selectively gathers evidence to confirm a theory.
An example of confirmation bias is not considering alternative hypotheses.
Alessi narrowed in on Welcher's testimony that John O'Keefe wouldn't necessarily have had any broken bones or injuries to his lower extremities after potential impact with Reed's SUV. But later in the day, Alessi pointed out the report Welcher used about common injuries and pedestrian strikes is 46 years old.
Are you aware that the currently understood most common injuries as a result of pedestrian motor vehicle collisions are injuries to the lower extremities?
It wouldn't surprise me if that's accurate.
Over and over again, Alessi focusing on key data Welcher did not have, like John O'Keefe's body position when he was allegedly hit. Information that in his own testimony about the differences between injuries from side swipes versus direct impact, Welcher noted would be of crucial importance.
Pedestrian impacts and how you move post-impact are very sensitive to your exact body position.
Welcher multiple times on the stand today acknowledging that key piece of data missing, like in this exchange about the height of the spoiler on Reed's SUV.
We don't know his exact body position at the point of impact, nor do we know the exact position on the ground. So, which is part of the reason why I haven't tried to exactly simulate this.
But keep in mind, fewer than 24 hours ago, the doctor testified about dressing like O'Keefe, buying a replica of Reed's car, and doing a simulation, something he called the blue paint test. Alessi took aim at another missing component of that test.
You didn't do a blue paint test with the vehicle going at 20 miles per hour, correct?
That is correct. I was not going to hit myself with the Lexus at 20 miles an hour.
You could have done other tests where the vehicle was going at 20 miles per hour if you used a crash test dummy, correct? You could have done that.
If you use the right crash test dummy, and then to set up the test, you have to know everything about the parameters. And so again, pedestrian impacts are so very sensitive to initial angles. If I were to do a test and it was off a tiny, tiny bit and we got some different results, I would be in here having to defend it. Well, your own testing didn't show it. Point is we don't have enough information to be able to conduct that testing.
Hold on, stop.
I was just going to say, Ed, your thoughts on this.
Well, he said this numerous times today. Well, guess what? If you don't have enough information to conduct these tests, then you also don't have enough information to give an opinion, a definitive opinion, as you did yesterday, on how this happened. All right, so knock the bullshit off.
100%, Ed. And there was so many of these moments because he was refusing to directly answer the questions. It was a lot of this. He was trying to use his PhD smarts on Attorney Alessi, and it wasn't really working well.
I mean, I don't know how many times this guy's testified and how many times he's gotten away with this bullshit. Okay. He's on the stand and he's taking notes. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to bring a notepad and write down notes. He's writing notes and nobody's saying anything. He's got his computer open and he's looking things up and he's typing things. You're not allowed to do that. What the hell is going on in this court? Yeah. Okay. And it took some time before they realized that they had to shut that down.
Yeah. And Judge,
he could have been texting and emailing people right from the stand for all we know.
It's true. And nobody knows what he was communicating with, who he could have been possibly communicating with there. Again, anything is possible. We do not know. And we're not saying that that's what he was doing. But what we're saying here is that no other witness would be able to get on that stand and open up a laptop, have another, I don't know what that device was in front of him. It looked like it had
calculator.
Okay, so there you go.
He also testified, but he testified to this, that he changed his PowerPoint presentation today while he was on the stand.
Yeah, because of the
because of judge's ruling. He changed something. How is that allowed to happen?
Let's switch gears and talk about the testimony that he gave as it pertains to the payment, the $325,000 contract that he signed. Let's take a listen and let's get pissed off. I wanted to just change gears, Ed, because there's so much to cover and I want to get to most of this stuff. So let's take a listen to this. I have sped it up.
So that the date of the incident in question is January 29th, 2022, correct?
Correct.
Yet your firm and you were retained for this case by the Commonwealth 2.5 years after the incident in question. You were retained, your firm, on September 23rd, 2024. Is that correct, sir?
No, I believe we were retained a couple of days before that.
A couple of days. Okay.
Right.
So
actually, I might be able to find out if you'd like me to look at the documents.
It's not.
So again, here's the laptop and there's the other device, which is out of screen right now. Alessi makes a mistake here. He talks about that, you've been on this case for 2 years. He quickly corrects him. But when he goes into the money part, he is so like, oh, that's not I don't have anything to do with that, Ed. Ed, you bill courts for your time and your services. Do you not know when you sign a contract how much that how much you're asking for. This is the executive VP of Aperture.
And he signed the contract. He signed the contract. Okay.
This guy's up here saying, I don't know. It could take 12 months before I get a notification that I didn't get paid for it. You
Yeah,
think
well, he's a multimillionaire. He doesn't have to work. He's, you know, he sold his company, by the way, which probably is worth nothing now. Okay. You know, if whoever bought it probably want to get their money back.
Exactly. Let's let the rest of this play.
Not all that important. You would say it's within a week of September 23rd, 2000. It was in September of 2024.
I believe it was in September. Yes.
Right.
I would
So-
want to double check.
That's 2.5 years from the date of the incident in question, if I did the math right, correct?
I never thought about it.
See,
Yeah,
he didn't ask
As we
permission
just
to look at
discussed,
that.
You stated
Say again, Ed?
He didn't ask permission to look at that. You need to get permission from the judge to be looking at any documents that you brought up on the stand with you.
He gets no permission.
on your direct examination, you have no dog in this fight, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, he's got
On
a dog.
November 5th of 2024, your firm Aperture was paid $44,500 by the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office to conduct work that was at least similar to the work of Trooper Paul, correct?
Watch this.
I have no idea. I don't get the billing or the statements.
He has every idea. That is an outright lie. For him to come up there and say that in front of the jury is just a really bad look. He plays dumb and he makes it convenient when he plays dumb. And then all of a sudden he gets really smart. It's a really, really bad look. It's his company. He's the executive VP. This man knows damn well sure how much he's getting paid, his time. He's being flown there by the DA's office. The Commonwealth is paying for his flights. The Commonwealth's paying for his hotel room. The Commonwealth is paying for his food. Correct, Ed?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that's all a part of the contract. Is paying for his time on the stand. So every day he's on the stand, he's billing. And just like that other guy, Shannon with the one end, it's two ends. But then,
Yeah.
he I took it upon myself to do this without any permission, without any changing of the contract, and he didn't bill those hours he worked on that. Bullshit.
Bullshit. I got to get a bullshit button here. Sonia in the UK sends us 5 and she says, I was shouting at my TV all the way over here across the pond while this trial. Sorry, circus earlier. Yeah, it's a sorry circus. That's for sure. Thank you for the super chat.
Do you recall whether Aperture do you believe Aperture is working for free in this matter?
Oh, no, I don't believe that. No,
So
we're an engineering company. We bill for our time.
So you know that Aperture is getting paid for its work in this case, correct?
We are billing for our analysis work.
Well, you're not just billing, you're billing and getting paid, correct?
So I have not seen any of the payments. I would assume that we're getting paid, but I don't know that.
Sir, you are a senior vice president of Aperture, are you not?
I am.
You would know, wouldn't you, if your firm was not getting paid for work since September 23rd of 2024?
Listen to this bullshit answer here.
Wouldn't you?
No, probably not. Usually it takes, 9, 10, 12 months of not getting paid before the accounting department
Oh, hell no.
reaches out to me.
Exactly. So you've been on this for 2.5 years. So if it would take 9 months or 12 months, if you weren't getting paid, you would have been notified by that by now, correct? According to your own answer you just gave.
I've not been on this case for 2.5 years.
I'm sorry, sir. Let me go back to the question of payment.
Hold on. You said I've been on this case for 2.5 years. I was retained in September 17th-ish of 2024. So that's what, less than a year ago.
Understood. I'm moving on to the next question because I want to move away from that discussion and just go right to the bill. You, as you sit here today, do not have a recollection of whether Aperture has been paid. Is that your testimony?
It has nothing to do with recollection. I'm not part of that process. We have an accounting department. I don't have any involvement in that.
Are you, so is your testimony you have no knowledge about any contractual relationship between Aperture and the Commonwealth?
Oh, no. I was sent a contract by the Commonwealth to sign. So I'm aware of the contractual agreement, but the day-to-day or month-to-month invoicing and billing, I'm not involved in that.
Okay. So you're aware there's a contract between Aperture and the Commonwealth,
I signed it.
and you signed it. And wasn't that contract obligating the Commonwealth to pay for the services of Aperture? Isn't that the purpose of the contract in part?
In part, sure.
Yeah, it's a legal obligation of the Commonwealth. Your firm does work and the Commonwealth pays for it, correct?
That's the idea.
Right. And so you,
Ed, if they paid this man and his company, what's the figures? 325 plus 44.5, close to 400,000, give or take, with the extra billing and the extra time. How much is the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office, Commonwealth, paying to charge this case 2 times against? We're in the millions.
Oh, absolutely.
In the millions of dollars, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has spent the taxpayers' money to go after Karen Reed, not once, but twice. And we didn't even hear about numbers really in the previous trial.
And they're going to pay for that Lexus, that they're going to sell used in California. Good luck doing that because it's from Texas and it doesn't have any of the California emissions. You're not going to be able to sell that car in California. And then the Commonwealth is going to pay the difference.
Yeah, that's a big sham, as is this investigation.
So what they do with the car? What they really do with it?
They're putting it on ice until after the trial is over, and then
some executive driving it right now.
Yeah. Let's let the rest of this play because it gets a little bit better, and I have it sped up, so we should be done in 5 minutes.
you know about that contract because you signed it.
Correct.
Also, you testified on direct that there was a purchase of a Lexus exemplar for your testing.
Correct.
Who pays for that Lexus exemplar?
Aperture?
And is that then cost passed on to the Commonwealth?
No.
So you pay for the Lexus, you don't pass that cost on, correct?
So what we're doing is we paid for the Lexus. We're keeping it till the trial's over. We're selling it and charging the Commonwealth the difference in the price.
Exactly. That was where I was going, sir. So,
But they're only paying the difference. So, and in theory, if we sell it for more in California, then we'll reduce the bill.
okay, I don't want to speculate. I just wanted to see what the obligation was. So
The obligation is the difference.
exactly. So the obligation is the difference. Are you aware that on April 5th, 2025, the Norfolk County District Attorney's Office amended your contract? Are you aware of that, sir?
I am.
And isn't it the case that amendment
You see him writing notes?
the amount of
Yes.
$325,000 to be paid to Aperture? Isn't that what that amendment contract states?
I believe that's correct.
So the Commonwealth is obligated to pay at least $325,000. And is that correct?
That is you're asking me a legal opinion now about a contract. That is my understanding of how contracts work, but I'm certainly not an attorney.
And on top of that, are you aware that Aperture has been already paid $44,510 for its work? Are you aware of that?
The second time you asked me, no, I'm not aware of anything we've been paid.
What an arrogant asshole.
Yeah.
I mean, he earned this.
Pardon my French, but you're an asshole.
Is that getting old? I like to use that.
Never gets old. I
Cameron-
love Cameron.
Cameron's a good man, and he knows his assholes when he sees them. And this guy is being a major asshole. You've asked me that twice. We're gonna move on. Ed, is there any other direction that you want to take with this? Because I have stuff.
I just want to cover some of this shit, right?
I noticed you say you're cursing a lot nowadays.
Oh, I can't take these guys. I'm sorry. My beloved forensic disciplines are being maligned by people like this. Okay. It's a joke. It's a joke. And people's lives are on the line. That poor woman, again, it doesn't matter if it's Karen Reed. It could be anybody that's in this chat right now. Okay. Anybody that lives up in that community. Okay. It could be you. It could be me. You know, I don't care who the defendant is in this case, right? All I care about is an injustice is being perpetrated, and the people that we're supposed to rely on to protect us and to serve us and to provide our communities with justice are not doing their jobs. And you got to ask yourself why.
Why?
Okay. You have incompetency and you have corruption. Okay. So, you know, and this is pissing me off that this guy is making $400,000 or $369,000, whatever it is. Okay. For this nonsense. Okay. And he's
includes this disgrace, Shannon Burgess. The guy who lied about his education.
Right. It's all smoke and mirrors. There's no, you know, remember the old Wendy's commercial? Where's the beef?
Yeah.
Right. There's no beef in anything this guy has done or said. Okay. And he, you know, he's telling you, well, we don't have enough information for that. And we don't have enough information for that. And we don't have enough information. Well, if all that I don't have enough information piles up taller than you standing up, then you probably shouldn't give an opinion as to how you said it occurred.
Agreed. Carla Barrick says Ed is allowed to curse. Of course he's allowed to curse. But what I'm saying is we don't normally hear on regular streams when we're covering other cases. Yeah, I curse here and there, probably a little bit more than Ed does. But hearing Ed with the curse words, you know he's frustrated. And again, it's a slap in the face to all the good guys who do the job the right way. Ed.
Yes. I mean, just like today, you know, he was asked about all these biases, and he was asked about peer review, but he didn't seem to understand the question, right? He was, you know, are you doing, you know, peer reviewed work? Are you doing work and following standards? And, you know, because he's just making this up as he goes, right? And he doesn't understand the scientific method, okay? Because he was saying things. Oh well, you know, the hypothesis, you know, the main question gets answered at the end. No, you have to define what the question is that you need to answer. Develop your hypotheses, and it's not a hypothesis; it's hypotheses, plural. Okay, and then you do your testing, and then you see which is fitting. And if it doesn't fit, then you formulate new hypotheses and conduct new testing. And he doesn't know that whole process because he tried to act like he did, but he doesn't. Okay. He was being asked about the peer review. Well, where's the quality assurance and quality control for Aperture? Is there nobody back at Aperture that another certified accident reconstructionist or a panel of certified accident reconstructionists to go over what he did? And he's saying, well, you can't have peer review until the case is resolved. Well, that's bullshit. You can have a quality assurance, quality control program where you have a panel. And I'll give you an example of where it's done on active cases that are going through the court system. Fingerprint comparisons, ballistic comparisons, tool mark comparison, handwriting comparison, dental identification, okay, DNA comparison, bloodstain pattern analysis, accident reconstruction, fire investigation cause and origin, post-blast investigation cause and origin, shooting reconstruction, and ballistic trajectories. So when a forensic analyst does these types of work and they come to a conclusion, okay, there's quality assurance, quality control program. Well, then that analyst who did those things that I just mentioned hands it over to a panel, and they review it, and and then they either give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? You'll usually have an odd number of panelists, so 3. So, you know, if you 2 say it's good to go, 1 disagrees, okay, that's how that works. The panel works, and then they give the work back to the analyst, and if the panel says no good, then the analyst has to go back and redo the work and get it to the proper standard. before.
I have a peer review setting that you had specified on the email, but before I wanted to go and play this, Ed, I want to say thank you to Linda Argento. I hope I'm saying the last name right. She sends in $200 on a super chat. That's very generous. Thank you. She says, this guy was pompous. He was a pompous ass. The judge should have intervened and told him just answer the question, but she didn't. I'm in the legal field and I deal with experts. They send a monthly invoice with a detailed description. He is a liar. Ed is an expert witness. Ed.
Yeah, I bill. I bill. I have it built into my contract when I'm going to bill. First, I get a retainer and I work off the retainer, and then I give them a synopsis of all my billable hours. And when I when I finish the retainer, then I send them a direct bill, and then they have 2 weeks to send me my money.
Yeah. So he played stupid here and made it seem like he didn't know what was going on. But here is the first bookmark that you asked for. It's the 1 hour and 47-minute mark, and it's in regards to peer review.
Wendy, I'm in Jersey. I'm not in the Hamptons.
Is it correct that a proper biomechanical injury analysis utilizes a sound scientific methodology that's been subjected to peer-reviewed and a publication that's been generally accepted in the engineering community?
Well, I can't. So this, I've done my analysis here, biomechanical analysis. I can't submit this analysis to peer review. I'm not allowed to give this to people outside the court. So there would be no way for me to submit my analysis for peer review. So this occurs forensics all the time. The forensic analysis in court generally never goes under a peer review process. The methodologies underneath it, and looking at, like, for example, I think I referenced 25 papers in my report. That goes to the issue of trying to follow the science. 26.
So I think you may have misunderstood my question, sir. I was talking about your methodology, your biomechanical injury methodology. The methodology that you use and apply is to be subject to peer review and general acceptance in the engineering community. Is that correct?
So I have no way of publishing this analysis.
I'm sorry, sir, to interrupt you.
And the reason this took all day is because of this behavior, right?
Yeah, because he doesn't listen to the question. This is what narcissists do. They think they're the smartest person in the room, so they don't think they have to listen to the question. So he didn't listen to Alessi's question about what he was doing. He was talking about, are you following peer-reviewed standards for your forensic discipline? Okay, and he is not getting it. He's thinking that Alessi is saying, "Oh, did you take this, what you did in this case, and publish it for peer review?" And that's not what he's saying. Okay, just shut your mouth, open your ears, listen to the question, and answer truthfully.
Yeah. Ed, you've testified, as you stated, over 399 times in court. Have you ever acted like this when you're being cross-examined?
No. I mean, once I got in trouble with a judge, because she called bloodstained pattern analysis voodoo science. And I couldn't bite my tongue. And I said, you're probably right, Your Honor, if you think physics and trigonometry are voodoo science.
Oh my.
That got the judge to remove the jury, and I got a tongue lashing.
We love to hear when Ed Wallace gets scolded and he is being a little naughty. But Ed, you do stand up for what is right and what you know. And what I like about you, and I'm kind of the same way. If we're wrong, we always admit to it. We'll always make that statement. Look,
yeah, if I make a mistake, I fall on the sword. It's my mistake. I own it. Okay.
Right, let's listen to this as they go into this confirmation bias. And that's coming at the 149 mark. So let's listen in.
General acceptance in the engineering community. Is that correct?
So I have no way of publishing this analysis.
I'm sorry, sir, to interrupt you.
I need to.
Go ahead and answer.
They're talking
You're
over each
asked
other.
peer reviewed, like you said, means I give it to my peers. I send it out to somebody to review for the scientific method. That's what the peer review process is. So I will gladly send this out to peer review with the court's permission. but I haven't and cannot do that.
Sir, my question is not your analysis here in this case.
Oh.
My question regards the methodology that you used here. Is the methodology, you said 26 references, right? My question is simply, is the methodology that you used for your analysis in this matter, is the methodology for a proper biomechanical analysis, should that methodology be generally accepted in the engineering community?
I think with the forensic application, yes.
Okay, that was my question, just the methodology. Thank you.
You're welcome.
See, no shame. The guy's got no shame.
Now, the scientific method that you've used in this case, part of the use of scientific method, the purpose is to avoid what is called bias in the scientific method, right? Not cultural bias, but just bias in terms of the application of methodologies and principles. You would agree that's a pretty fundamental purpose of the scientific method, is to avoid biases?
The purpose of the scientific method is to get the most logical and correct answer without bias.
Exactly. To do it apply the scientific method without bias being part of the application of the method, correct?
That's hopefully what you can do.
That's hopefully what you can do. That is the goal, right?
That is one of many goals, yes.
So are you familiar with the term confirmation bias?
I am.
And that relates, confirmation bias is part of a larger term. Are you familiar with cognitive bias?
Generally, I'm not a human factors expert, though.
Pardon me?
I'm not a human factors expert.
All right, biases are, don't you agree that cognitive biases?
Just so everybody knows, Ed Wallace is shaking his head behind the scenes. He's shaking his head and he just can't believe that he's hearing this, and he has to hear it again 2 times.
Yeah, this is like PTSD for me.
This is painful.
Not just for one category. You would agree it applies to medical analyses, it applies to doctors doing studies, engineers doing studies, and other scientists doing studies?
I'm not a cognitive expert. I think I would generally agree with it, but I don't want to step out of my lane. I'm not an expert on cognitive.
Too late. He stepped out of his lane yesterday, stepped out of his lane again today. Ed, everybody's calling you a stud in the chat. You are a stud. So peer review, confirmation bias, and then failure on the analysis / his hypothesis. That's coming up too, just right around the corner at the 152 mark. Let's listen in, Ed.
I can talk to you about confirmational bias, if you like.
Let's talk about confirmation bias. Now, confirmation bias is actually when someone selectively gathers and interprets evidence to confirm one or another's beliefs, as well as neglecting evidence that contradicts those beliefs. Is that a fair statement of confirmation bias?
That is a statement. Yeah, it could be broader, but sure.
But you would agree that that is generally correct, what
Generally,
confirmation bias is. And an example of confirmation bias is not considering alternative hypotheses once an initial hypothesis has been selected, even though data and information might contradict the initial hypothesis. Is that an example of confirmation bias?
That could be, yes.
And
look at this, Ed. I didn't even catch this. So thank you, Kathleen, for the 5. She says, laptop taken away. Then Welcher defiantly uses his smartwatch. Nobody notices. What the fuck? Who was he communicating with?
You know, at this point in time, if I was the defense, not that this is going to happen, because apparently lifeguard Bev never sides with the defense for the most part. You know, in their applications for things like this, I would be asking to seize his laptop and his phone and view what he was doing on there.
And it's too late for that now, because he's probably now telling his people, "Hey, scrub all my devices." You know, if in fact he was doing that.
You know, when we finish this section here, I would want to share something on screen.
Yep.
Okay.
Look at this super chat. This guy gives engineering PhDs a bad name.
Indeed.
He damn sure does. Darkborn, thank you for being here night after night, sending in a $20 super chat. I was taught in BLET here in North Carolina that you only bring case reports. Don't bring notepads or anything like that to the stand, because the defense can request to look through anything that is in it.
Same in New York. We're only allowed to bring our case notes and our finished reports.
PTSD advocate, thank you for the 5. He or she says, watch him. Looking at his watch repeatedly, looked like he was receiving text messages. And that could be from anybody from that massive, as he talks about, oh, my company is very large. I have 200 and I don't remember the number, but we have hundreds of people. Yeah, and he's the executive vice president. There's people that get him coffee every morning, assistants, and all kinds of people who want to brown nose this guy to score brownie points, even though the company is doing a nosedive right now. So PTSD advocate, thank you for that. Let's listen to a little more, and we're getting close to that hour mark, Ed.
Confirmation bias is antithetical. It's against the scientific method. It's to be avoided, correct?
You would like to avoid it, yes.
Are you familiar with the term failure analysis?
Generally, you might need to define how you're using it for me.
Sure. So is failure analysis the enablement of a scientific examination of an alleged incident by beginning at the undesired consequences? Is that a fair use of that phrase?
I was thinking something different, like a piece of metal failing. I guess it could fall into that category.
Okay. And would you agree that the first question, or one of the first questions that are to be asked by a biomechanical engineer when conducting an analysis of, say, an injury is, how did this happen? Is that one of the first few questions that you ask?
No, that's usually the last question.
Oh, so for you.
So hold on a second.
Okay,
generally, what you want to do is gather data. You want to know what injuries there are, what evidence there is, like, for example, on the vehicles. And then the very last thing you want to know or define is, given all that information, how did it happen? So that's the end.
I think you may have misunderstood my question. So.
All right. So let's, again, this is a friend of the channel. Dogs with Jobs, always here. He or she says, I believe she says, I am so disappointed with both Ron and Ed continuing to bash and disrespect the Commonwealth's witnesses. Are you listening to what these witnesses are doing and saying? Maybe you don't see what we see, but I know we're all individuals. We all have our own set of lenses. I keep saying that, but
we call balls and strikes here. We call it as we see it. So, I respectfully, I respect what you're saying and that you have a difference of opinion, but I respectfully also disagree. We're just calling it
as we see it,
based upon our years of training, experience, and certifications. What is going down here?
And if you have anything positive to say about these witnesses and how they're conducting themselves, we're all ears. I'd love to hear about it.
And it's not personal, right? We shouldn't be falling into that trap of making this case personal to the point that you can't have an adult conversation with somebody who doesn't agree with you.
We're not just going to go along with the prosecution on a clear and concise wrongdoing. If we were to do that, that would make us just as bad as what they're doing here. And we're not going to sit back and say, hey, we give our complete stamp of approval of this. I played tonight, Ed and I played tonight, Trooper Michael Proctor, former Trooper Michael Proctor, who is a disgrace. He made text messages at the 16th and 17th hour of this investigation before they had all of the data. And he said in a text message that she's going to take the heat for this. Karen Reed's taking the heat for this. Nobody inside 34 Fairview. They all have nothing to worry about. We're going to make this clear cut. And that's what they did.
Hey, folks, in the chat, for those of you who are new here, we practice courtesy, professionalism, and respect. Please, you know, because someone has a difference of opinion against, you know, or what we've said or something, you know, don't go, you know, say anything derogatory or anything like that. Don't do that. If someone is saying something stupid and nasty and disrespectful, you know, our mods will take care of those individuals. If there's a troll here, our mods will take care of it. But that wasn't disrespectful.
It wasn't at all. It wasn't at all. But I wanted to highlight it because I feel like, you know, we want to give everybody a voice here. And at the end of the day, she is a supporter of us, Ed. She's here all the time.
Yeah, I know. I've seen her contribute. I've answered her questions out.
Absolutely. And to have somebody feel like this is okay, that not just this expert that the Commonwealth brought on, Shannon Burgess, who works for this man and who lied about his resume and testified. This is just not. This is just one of many, many things. There's a mountain of wrongdoing here, and it's clear and evident. If you don't see it, then I don't know what to say. You know, you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So I get it. Dogs with jobs. I get it. And look, nobody's forcing you to stay here and watch us. We understand. You have many choices. You can go watch other people who put their stamp of approval on this bullshit. We won't do it.
And speaking of dogs, it was a dog that made those injuries on Joe's. John O'Keefe's arm.
I wasn't talking about the method or the process. I was talking about when you get to answering questions, whenever that is in the process. Isn't one of the questions, and maybe one of the first questions, how did this happen?
No, that's not one of the first questions. One of the first questions is, where's the damage? What are the injuries? What's the evidence? What black box or text stream data do we have? What physical evidence was at the scene? So that is certainly not one. It is a question, but that question is at or near the end.
Isn't every one of the questions that you just mentioned part of the data gathering?
Correct. But when you're gathering data, you're always asking yourself questions along the way, like, what is this? Where did it come from?
But you would agree that for you, at least some point, it's how did this happen, correct?
Yes.
And don't you ask that question to come up with hypotheses?
I generally have many working hypotheses as I'm working on the case. And then as the evidence comes in, I'm applying that to my hypotheses and either accepting or rejecting the hypotheses based upon the factual information.
See, here's the problem with this.
Yeah, I want to ask you about your thoughts on this, Ed.
Here's the problem with what he's saying. He just accepted everything that the Proctor and people like Lieutenant Tully and the prosecutors told him as fact, as at its face value as fact. Maybe he wasn't notified about all the controversies surrounding many of these items of evidence and when they were collected, how they were collected, the lack of documentation, all that stuff. So, you know, so in his mind, he's taking, and what is he's looking at interviews, right? And he was given interviews to review and changed his PowerPoint presentation on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the prosecutor gave him that news clip of an interview and said, look at this and then adjust your PowerPoint. And talk about being sandbagged. Okay.
And he said that he changed his presentation on 527 many times. And he did that based on news interviews that he saw Karen Reed conduct. And also that information was provided to him. He wouldn't say it was provided by Brennan. He said somebody from the Commonwealth's office provided him with that information. He didn't seek it out himself. So it goes to, your point that you're talking about right here is he's already had his mind made up based on what he's been fed all along.
I'm going to share this photo. Now, this is how I teach crime scene reconstruction or any kind of reconstruction. Okay, let's see if this comes up.
I have it saved, by the way.
Do you see it?
Hold on. I'm gonna put it on. Let me remove mine. Hold on. Add to stage. There it is. Can
Does
you
everybody
make
see,
it larger? Can you zoom that in?
do you see it?
Yeah. Can you zoom it on your end? Yeah. Keep going. Okay. Perfect. Right there.
Okay. So typically when you hire a forensic expert like myself, or in this case, the doctor here, the client is going to identify the problem. Okay. They'll say, well, you know, we have these witnesses and they're saying that this is how this shooting went down, or this is how this accident went down. And you can review those statements. Yes, absolutely. But we just want to see if what they're telling us is possible. Could this have occurred the way they are saying it occurred? Okay, so you have identified the problem. So now you have to collect the data. So what's the data? Well, you collect interviews, you collect evidence, you review all the files associated with the case, you review all the lab reports, you know, depending on what happens, any videos that are out there that may have captured anything to do with the incident that you're investigating. Okay, once you have these stories and the data, you develop the hypotheses, okay, plural, all right? Then you test your hypothesis and you form your conclusion at the end of the cycle, and you give your conclusions over. Now, if the hypotheses after testing doesn't pan out, it doesn't show that which you were told by the person, you would report that to them. It says, look, hey, you know, your witnesses are saying this, but the evidence and my testing saying that's not accurate. This is what actually occurred. Okay. You know, and that's the way this is supposed to go down. Let me see if I can bring up another one. Oh, nope, wrong way. All right. Let me shut this down and pull up another one.
I love it when Ed's in charge.
Is this broadcasting here? Can you see this?
I do not see it, and I don't see it to present.
All right, hold on.
You want me to get?
Let me turn it on. Hold on. All right, present. Share screen. Okay, window. Share. Is that on?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So here's your preliminary hypothesis. And what's the purpose of this? It will help you detect and recognize your key evidence, assist in forming new concepts. Remember, you must not be locked in to this hypothesis. You must consider alternative hypotheses. He didn't do that here.
Yeah,
I'm stop sharing now.
Yeah,
okay?
he's right for the kill.
He didn't do that here. He took everything he was told as gospel. He didn't look at alternatives. And when he did his testing, he didn't account for everything I spoke about yesterday. You know, he's taking his measurements. Okay, but you don't know the tire pressure from the tire pressure at the day of the incident. You don't know how much gasoline was in the tank. Okay, you don't know how much. You know, you didn't have anybody of you know, Karen Reed's weight sitting in the driver's seat when you took these measurements. You don't know the tire pressure of John O'Keefe's car. You don't know all this different data points, but yet you're continuing to take these measurements with knowing you should have known that all of these other points that I'm telling you about affect the analysis. Okay. Right. And so you're working with bad data sets.
And the changing of the PowerPoint is the next thing that you had marked off. And I know that we did discuss that here, but it's interesting to hear him talk about it. And he talks about it extensively. And he says that he doesn't know who from the Commonwealth's office told him about this.
No, it was Brennan.
Yeah, but he doesn't admit it. He says somebody. He wouldn't admit that it was Brennan.
I think he did.
Correct. You didn't have any dog in the hunt. You recall that statement in the beginning of your direct testimony.
You misquoted me. I don't have any dog in the fight.
You don't.
Oh, that was.
It's amazing what he can remember and what he can't remember.
Yeah.
You don't have any dog in the fight.
Correct.
Thank you. Now, Switching topics.
Okay.
You submitted
Mike,
an updated
He's writing notes.
presentation.
Yeah, he did write notes there.
Topics.
Okay.
Yeah, more notes.
You submitted an updated PowerPoint presentation, the one that you went over on your direct examination. You created that presentation quite recently, correct, sir?
The updated one was where I had redacted or taken out slides. So in terms of taking out slides, I did add one alternative path a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, he uses the word path. Okay, that's another thing. He was very confusing with this because it made it sound like, you know, he should have used the word route, because he was talking about the driving routes that were possible, because they still don't know what routes that Karen Reed drove back to John O'Keefe's house from the Albert's house. So he uses path, but he should have used route.
Right. Let's listen to a little more.
Is this.
Mm-hmm.
The updated presentation, we'll get to the changes later, but the updated presentation you created just how many days ago?
I'm going to say weeks ago.
Weeks, 2 weeks?
I don't actually know without looking at the documents.
Well, was it more than 3 weeks ago that you created it?
I still don't know without looking at the documents.
Do you know when the trial started in this matter, sir?
I do not.
Assume the trial started approximately April 22nd of 2024.
Okay.
Did you create your updated presentation before or after April 22nd of 2024?
I don't know.
Do you know when?
What is he looking at? What is he looking at? He's on his computer, looking at his computer.
Yeah, and he's getting actually scolded here by lifeguard Bev. I just asked the audience, Ed, if they enjoy your take on this, and I know everyone does, but I want to just get an idea of how many people that are watching. And you're watching on the replay. Let us know in the comments down below if you enjoy Ed's take on this. Press a 1. If you'd rather not hear his take, press a 2. And if you press a 2, I don't know, man. I'd have to say, wait a minute, hold on. Well, where is that button?
Say good night.
Stop breathing down my neck.
Wait, that was a good one.
Say good night to the bad guy.
Say hello to my little friend.
Don't try and answer his question. My apologies. I will shut it down.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Shut the screen.
If I may, Your Honor,
Yes.
say it. Are you able to determine when you created the updated
Picking his
presentation?
ear.
I think so. That's what I was attempting
Your
to do.
Honor, may he do that?
Yes, I'm going to see Counselor Sidebar while you pull that up,
Thank
please.
you.
He shouldn't have any electronics up
In my
here.
direct- in my
Yes,
direct
sir.
test.
I agree.
That you created yesterday. When did you create that version?
The day before.
And then the version before that one, when did you create that?
I mean, I save it every day.
Understood.
So every day.
So you've changed the presentation every day since when?
No, I don't think I've changed the presentation every day.
That's my question. My question is, how many times have you changed it within the last 2
You
weeks?
see that?
Yeah, he doesn't listen. He doesn't listen.
This guy, man.
Your presentation.
Let me try and cut to the chase here.
Sure.
That slide was added on May 13th, and then it was taken out before I presented it here. So it was not in my presentation here.
Right. So thank you for that answer. So
You're
here's
welcome.
the question. Your first version, as I understand it, of the slide presentation was January 30th, 2025. Is that correct?
Correct.
When was the next time after January 30th, 2025 that you changed that presentation?
May 13th.
Assuming the trial started April 22nd of 2025, you changed your
Write notes.
PowerPoint presentation
This is unbelievable.
during this trial, correct?
Correct.
And how many times did you change your presentation after April 22nd of 2025?
Well, the last time I changed it was like 10 minutes ago. So in response to various discussions, I've been making continuous changes to it.
I want to make sure you finish your answer, so I didn't.
No, I'm not sure how much granularity you want to that answer.
Right. So you created on January 30th, 2025. You made your
13th.
Pardon me?
Oh, the original one. Sorry,
Yeah.
January 30th, modified May 13th.
Right. If I could finish my question, I might be able to shortcut this. Thank you. So you created the original one on January 30th, 2025. You made your first amendment May 13th of 2025. And then before you sat for your testimony, which was yesterday, correct? That was the first time you sat for your testimony.
That is correct. I was here yesterday.
Days get foggy when we're in a courtroom, but it was yesterday. How many times had you changed your presentation from January 30th, 2025 until when you first walked in the courthouse yesterday?
Do you mind if I count?
Not at all.
So there was the May 13th change.
Take your shoes off.
Half of that was in response to objections from the defense. I had to add all the paths to where everything was. Then when I got out here, Mr. Brandon asked me to take out references to evidence, statements that I was not allowed to present. So that would have been within the last 3 days. And then I've modified it a couple times today based on rulings from the judge.
Okay, let's break that down.
And nobody told him to do that. He just did it himself while he's on the stand.
Yeah, he's making adjustments. He's amending his reports based on objections. He wasn't being told by Judge Bev, by Lifeguard Bev, to change things. He was doing it on his own. This is what it appears to.
During trial on the stand.
Yeah.
I just want to say, this guy has no how much experience does he have testifying? How has he been allowed to get away with all this bullshit over these years? I mean, he should be held in contempt.
Of the changes you made on May 13th related to what? Because I want to know about the other half.
Sure, there were two changes. I added the extra path of 138, and then I was told that the defense was having problems with my PowerPoint, so I had to go in and add the paths to every single slide about where the evidence came from, because they were saying I didn't provide everything, and I had provided everything.
Right. So
that was the second half.
Got it. I want to go to the first half, sir.
Sure.
And I'm going to try to shortcut this.
Please.
And if I'm not clear, you just let me know. I want to talk about the first half. You called it, I didn't hear it. It was like, did you say path?
Path.
P-A-T-H?
Correct. The path Miss Reed was driving.
Right. What you made the change for May 13th, that first half, that wasn't something that was triggered by the defense. That was something irrespective of the defense, correct?
It was based upon her statements. Is she part of the defense?
All right, so that's what I wanted to get to. You changed the first half
he ignored
based upon statements you allege that Ms. Reed made. Is that correct?
I changed one slide.
Hold on a second. Before I let this go, Karen, you got to send me another email because I sent out the book, and I don't know if you sent me the wrong address. It came back to me. So I have that signed book that I sent out, Ed. I got it back today in the mail. So Karen, send me another email, and either I wrote it down wrong, but I just need clarification from you. So Karen, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member. Ed's signed book. It came back in pristine condition. I want to ship it back out to you. Send me an email tomorrow. I will ship it out ASAP.
Please, Karen, please.
30 slides originally, or something like that. So
is it me, or is just that smile and that smirk that he puts on there? It's just, it reeks arrogance so badly. This guy is like trying to shut him down, and it seems like it's a match between the two of them. Like they're fighting, they're talking. Alessi's talking, and he talks over him.
See, because I guess he's had his way with courts before, because he thinks he's always the smartest person in the room when he walks in, but now he's up against a real smart person, and he's not getting his way.
Yeah, he can't handle it, and it's clear and evident. I can't wait for round 2 tomorrow.
But this is so hard. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. Right?
The changes on that day, which was one slide, I added one line to the bottom of the previous slide.
Did you consider that change significant?
No.
Well, then why did you make it in the middle of trial if it wasn't significant? Why didn't you just leave it off and then discuss it in terms of testimony?
Bingo. Yahtzee. Don't pass go. I mean, that was huge right there. Listen to his answer.
So A, it ultimately was left off. B, because it was insignificant and I didn't need to have it. So the way it got presented was exactly the way it was before May 13th. So it didn't change anything.
But it was significant enough for you to make a change to your presentation, correct?
So my goal is to be as accurate as possible. So when I saw the path that I gave, the way she could drive, I gave the possible paths. That was one of the possible paths that hadn't originally been included. So in striving to be as accurate as possible, including as much information as I could, I wanted to make sure I included that.
So you were striving. The clip that you used to make the change, you say you made the change based upon a clip you observed with regard to Miss Reed. Is that correct?
I believe that. Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, I believe.
Do you know that clip has been in existence for months?
I don't believe I got it until April.
He's looking on his laptop now.
So a clip that has been, assume the clip's been in existence for months.
Shit. So he's actually typing on the keyboard and looking down at his laptop.
He's got a paper there too. I don't know if it's the keyboard or the paper. He's flipping pages.
If you look at his right arm here, he's typing on the laptop and he is looking down at this laptop. Hey, chat, let me know if you're on the same page with me here. I know he's got that paper in his left hand here, down here.
Yeah, but regardless of what he's doing, either typing or looking at the paper, he shouldn't be doing any of this. He was already warned to stop this.
You just got the clip.
Dr. Welcher, I have to ask you not to refer
I'm trying to.
See, she saw him.
Yeah.
Elevated. So she sees him. Dr. Welcher, I know you want to do this, and I am on your side because I'm on the side of the Commonwealth. But I got to ask you to stop doing it. It's just I can't have it.
Be helpful.
It's too blatant.
Let me close it. Sorry, I was trying to answer his question.
So I'm going to ask you to close the top.
Assume the clip's been in existence, Miss Reed. Is that correct?
Watch this.
I believe that. Yes, that is correct.
This hand right here.
Do you know that clip has been in existence for months?
There it goes.
I don't believe I got it until April.
It's on the keyboard.
So a clip that has been in, assume the clip's been in existence for months.
He's looking down.
You just got the clip.
Dr. Welcher, I have to ask you not to
Sorry.
refer.
I'm trying to be helpful.
Close your
Yeah,
No.
let me close it. Sorry, I was trying to answer his question.
If you,
I'm going to
I was
ask.
trying to answer his question with aid of my laptop and people sending me data through my laptop, whatever's on.
yes, people emailing me while I'm testifying live, or I have my Zoom open.
Yeah. Karen says you could see it in his glasses, but you could just see him looking down at this laptop here as Mr. Alessi's speaking to him. He's not even looking at him. He's not even looking at the jury. He's looking down at that device that nobody else is allowed to bring up on the stand. No other witnesses were able to bring a freaking laptop. This guy was controlling PowerPoint.
Yeah, they got to stop that too. None of this more PowerPoint testimony. That's bullshit.
That's probably a good idea.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. So assume the clip that you said was the basis for changing your PowerPoint on May 13th after the trial started had been in existence for months. You just got that clip, you say, in April?
I believe so, yes.
What was tell me the circumstances by which you got the clip. Did you ask for it?
I was told there was a new interview.
Okay. Who initiated the conversation about the new interview?
I don't know if it was Mr. Brannon.
It was someone associated with prosecution?
Yes, I wouldn't have known about it.
Exactly. So somebody affirmatively communicated with you when about this clip?
I need to look, but I remember it being about mid-April,
Mid-April.
if I'm thinking of the correct clip.
What were you asked to do, if anything, with regard to that clip?
When I got the clip, I wasn't asked to do anything.
What did you do with the clip once you got it?
So they then indicated there was this suggestion of an alternative route. So then I looked at the alternative route description and added the alternative route.
So it was suggested to you by the prosecution that you look at the clip and they pointed out that there was an alternative route they wanted you to look at?
So I took it to be, we have additional evidence. Please look at the additional evidence and add it to your analysis.
All right. I've had enough of this because my head's ready to explode. 3-Chord Dave, good to see you. Good to see you today. Thank you. He says, Mr. Helper, please take the stand. Yeah. This is stuff that you don't see. Ed, I would like to, if you don't mind, go to the chat. And if you have any other thoughts that you want to get out of the way, I know you got notes there. I'm going to scan the chat while you look at your notes. There was one question that I had highlighted. I'm going to go back. This chat.
Yes, you do. I remember it. Yes, you do. If you have witness statements, yes, you do review them. And, you put it in the back of your mind. And then when you're doing your experiments and everything, you try to see if you can verify what is being said. So is it true or is it not true? Is it matching what the science and the testing is telling me, or is it just hogwash, right? I mean, because we all know that witnesses always tell us the truth, right?
Exactly. Let me get to these super chats. Mimi Viz earlier sent in 20, and she said this guy has to be purposely as disrespectful, argumentative, and evasive as possible. Superiority complex and argued like a child. I mean, just pay me that money. I could do that. P.S. I love you all. Well,
hey, and does anybody believe that his father told him not to be a doctor because it's not worth it? All right. I mean, and the way oh my God, there's another thing that blew my mind. And he said, oh, we haven't, he's about to get cross-examined by Alessi. And he just takes it upon himself to start a conversation with Alessi from the witness box. Oh, we haven't been formally introduced.
Yeah, that was the beginning. That was.
What's your name? Yeah. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Itty Bitty, thank you for the 5 super sticker. Kathleen, thank you. Laptop taken away. 5. Thank you for the 5, Kathleen. Then Welcher defiantly uses his smartwatch. Yes, we highlighted that. Mm-hmm. Sonia, thank you for that. Ida, thank you for the super chat. $2. This guy gives engineering PhDs a bad name. Absolutely. Darkborn, thank you for the super chat. PTSD Advocate, we highlighted your comment earlier. Rob Pate, thank you for the 10. He may not have a dog in the fight, but unfortunately somebody's dog was in that fight.
Yeah, that's right.
That's the comment of the live stream. Rob Pate, thank you for that. Hey, by the way, Ed, my stepsister is watching from Massachusetts. She lives in Massachusetts. And Michelle, Auntie Moosh, as the boys used to call her when they were little, thank you for watching along with your daughter. It's always great to have you guys watching. And I hope to see you soon. So thank you for watching. She sent me a message. She said, I'm watching you and Ed right now. Char, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Hey, look, 7 Mary 3 is back at it again with 10. She says, Canton Clown Town, Traveling Circus and Corruption Roadshow. Thank you for the super chat. And here's the Linda Argento for the $200 super chat. Wow. That's one of the largest super chats we received in a long time, and we thank you for that. But yeah, she says he is a liar. Linda, thank you. Hope to see you around and see you in some of the other live streams that cover this trial live. Clicker AK, thank you for being a member for 1 month. I was waiting for Ed to go off on this guy all day. People are waiting for you, Ed. They're waiting.
Yeah, well, I hope she wasn't wearing me. You said I was wearing.
She was waiting for you, Ed. Look, you could read the super chats from now on. Here you go. Read the
Sandy RN Cali for Ed, Doc W, BS Biomechanics, San Luis. I don't want to mispronounce that. Obispo, Masters in Biomedical. Yeah, I got all that. I got all his degrees. He's a Cali guy. So thank you for that. Okay. Oh, hell no, Schmitty. Ed Badge of Honor. Yay. $2.
Oh, hell no.
That's oh, hell no, Schmitty.
Thank you. Edda Van Shakwak. Shallow. All right. I just destroyed that name. I apologize. You go, Ed. Sorry, Ida. I owe you.
I owe you. You owe me. We're a happy family. All right, Ed, try this one. Go ahead.
No, not even going to touch this. Okay. Oh my God, Welcher looks like Richard Attenborough. He should probably stay with the dinosaurs, as he ain't no David Attenborough. Laugh at laugh. Okay.
Thank you. Popeye's laughing too.
I'm Cora, not Chloe. David Reese, $4.99. Thank you, David. Yet Brennan asked Dr. Russell if she had her report peer reviewed. See? Okay. Clicker AK, thank you for all ways of breaking down this trial and caring. I'm guessing it's currying. Okay. Yes. Currying the bull. Always look forward to the recaps. Thank you. Head rolling fast. Thank you for the $4.99. I'm so outraged at this point. If this witness was the defense witness, Bev would never allow 1 minute of the testimony. It's ridiculous. Yep, I agree. 100%. And you show me on that taillight that was left in the housing, what in there that could have caused those injuries. All right. It doesn't match up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ed, the taillights cause those kind of shards. Let's just say, for argument's sake, that taillight was broken, and he hit it was broken. It's just not.
What did he say? It had to go at least 8 miles an hour and hit an object for the taillight to break. Is that what he said? Or 8 or 18, something like that?
18 or 8. I'm not sure, but it was just Thunder Horse. Thank you for being a member for 14 months. I didn't hear about another cop being arrested in Canton today, but we will look into that.
Yes, that was a sheriff. That's right.
Wow.
A sheriff was locked up because
Christina,
he was having his maintenance people go over his house and do maintenance on his house.
disgusting. Christina, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you for the super sticker. Texas RN every night coming in and supporting. We thank you. We appreciate your $4.99. Ron and Ed, predictions on how long this clown will be on the stand. I think tomorrow he should be done, right, Ed?
Well, Bev was pushing. Did you see her at the end of the day today? She was pushing Alessi. How much longer do you think you're going to need? Because tomorrow's a half day. Okay.
Yeah.
And I was like,
juror that had an appointment they need to be done by 1:30.
Yeah. She's using that excuse.
Emily sends in the $2 and she says he's been the most infuriating clown so far. I mean,
I'd take Trooper Paul over this guy.
Oh yeah, I would take Trooper Paul all day, every day. Oh hell no, Schmitty again with the 2 for hyperventing bags, pompous ass therapy. Thank you for that. Intercoastal Carissa, thank you for the super chat, $20. Thank you for speaking up and holding cops accountable. Your integrity reminds us all that good cops are still out there. And we're retired, and we despise the bad guys and girls.
Nobody hates a bad cop worse than a good cop.
Yeah, exactly. Mickey Duff, thank you for the 10. Would an accident reconstruction expert ever use himself as a crash test dummy? Yeah, that was really odd, Ed. Yesterday we saw him get dressed in John O'Keefe's clothing, right down to the black Nike sneakers.
No, I don't know many. It's like me dressing myself up to shoot myself. Okay. I'm not going to happen. Usually if you're teaching in college, we get interns or we get student workers looking for extra credit to come and assist us with some of these experiments that require humans.
Tamara Combs sends in the $2 super chat and said, what's Welcher so angry about? Well, he's angry because he's getting being challenged. And people like him don't like to be challenged because, as Ed said, this is a guy who is telling people what to do all day, every day. He's the executive vice president of Aperture, and he's the smartest guy in the room in his world. So he's not used to this shit. And when Alessi went and attacked him, this is the way he reacted, and it's a bad look.
So Lisa, thanks for the $5. Apparently her model has the forward automatic braking, but not the reverse automatic braking. Got reverse warning, but not automatic braking.
We're almost at the end, Ed. 3 more. Intercoastal Carissa, thank you for becoming a YouTube member. Guys, if you haven't yet given us a thumbs up, Ed and I, we don't ask for much. The super chats are optional, but if you guys could please give this video a thumbs up, share it out onto your social media, and leave us a comment. That's all stuff that's free. It doesn't cost anything for you to do that. Subscribing is free, and leaving a thumbs up is also free. Lily, what do we got here, Ed?
Dr. Welcher is literally swimming in John O'Keefe's jeans during his so-called reenactment. He is significantly different in both height and weight. Stunned. Yeah. Thank you for your $4.99. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I hear it. Okay, Ida, again. Hey, Ida, fun skulk cake. Okay, I got it. All right. Not Von. Eda Von.
Yeah.
Like the Von Traps.
PLL 21, thank you for gifting a membership. I appreciate it. Hey, ASU Mom, thank you for the 5. I think Dr. Welcher has been a test dummy too many times. One too many times, right?
Yeah.
Michelle, thank you for the 20. Can you tell me what the heck is going on with this idiot Welcher? Please, for the love of sweet baby Jesus.
Yeah, well, you don't want to get up in that mind because you'll go mad. Thank you, Ann Cat 100 for the super sticker and the $1.99. Hey, I see something here. I just want to address it. Capsy, I saw what you wrote. Just like there was a lab analyst that had something against her. Lifeguard Bev wouldn't let that information get in about Welcher and those Dalbert cases.
Hey, I want to just do this. I haven't done this in a while. If you want a chance at a free membership, I'd like to gift myself from me and Ed. We both want to gift 20 memberships. So if you can, give the video a thumbs up, press the number 1 in the chat if you want a chance at a free membership. And you have to have memberships enabled. So we're going to give 20 memberships right now. So please, everyone, place a 1 in the chat. Make sure you're subscribed and give the video a thumbs up. I'm going to just check real quick. Ed, what do you see, Ed?
It's Smitty. It's Smitty. She's telling me I need to be Priestley and not ZZ Toppy.
Oh, my God.
She got legs.
Smitty shouldn't be preaching.
And she knows how to use them.
We lost the rock and roll legend, Rick Derringer. Rock and roll, who he died at the age of 76. Rick Derringer, who is was a great musician. All right, membership gifting.
Okay.
What do you
M.
got?
Parker. M. Parker. I just want to tell you something. That is the doctor's new Native American name. Dances with Dummies. Okay.
Dun, 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 dun. All right, here we go. $100, Ed. This cost us, but it's well worth it. It's money well spent. We are gifting 20 memberships. You have to put a 1 in the chat. You got to give the thumbs up, and you got to make sure you're subscribed. Well, I don't think you can. I think this is a subscriber chat only. You can watch the video, but you have to subscribe to chat. So thank you to everybody that's in the chat right now, because that means you're subscribed. So appreciate that. All right, here we go. Ed, you don't have the counter. I'll let it go because your parents.
You want me to get it?
No,
Okay.
your parents are sleeping. All right, there it goes. 20 memberships. Congratulations to all the new members. DutyRon and Ed sent 20 memberships. Let's see who got it. Georgia Peach received a free membership. Lisa Dempsey received a free membership. Gemma Harding received a free membership. Melanie's Cupcake Posse, Sherilyn Schofner. Laughing my ass off, Dances with Dummies. Shelly 513 received a free membership, and so on and so forth and so on and so forth. So that,
you know what I have to say? Tatanka.
Oh, Jesus. All right, we're at the hour and 30 mark. I want to go to the chat and hashtag Ed, hashtag DutyRon with your questions really quick pertaining to Dr. Welcher today. Please put your questions in the chat. Chris A sends in a message real quick. He's very fast. Chris, that was the fastest I've ever seen someone put a question. Did you notice, DutyRon, that Dr. Welcher wasn't using the Toyota infotainment software? He was using the Bosch interface. Yes,
that's right.
We saw that on what was it, BN Trouble 31. He mentioned that in his upload today. I'm not an expert at that stuff, but yes, it's said that he was using the Bosch interface in his report, which leaves out the mileage and timestamps. I'm sure that.
And the tenth of a mile.
There you go. Thank you, DutyRon and Ed. Casey, thank you. If you're new, let us know where you're watching from, city, state, country, and we'll give you a shout out. If you're newly subscribed, let's say hello to our new friends, Ed, real quick. DutyRon, that was so half hour ago. Schmitty, sometimes I wonder about Schmitty. Late at night, she gets kind of funky, but I like it. She gets frisky. KCL says that's BN Troubles 31. Yes. 3-Chord Dave with the thumbs up. New Jersey, Michelle, thank you for being here. Anything from outside the country? Kansas City, Missouri, Massachusetts, as Ed would say, Massachusetts. Sometimes Massachusetts. Highland Village, Texas. Hello from Buffalo. Freezing cold in the winter, Buffalo, New York. My sister went to college at Buffalo U.
Yeah, you can keep that snow.
Ooh, we used to have to travel around by a snowmobile when I go up there to visit.
I got a couple of questions.
Jonesboro, Tennessee. Jonesboro. Thank you.
Good old Rocky Top, Tennessee. Okay, Johnny Reb. DutyRon, he got defensive for every question of methods and said a drop from the standing height could produce 450 G's of acceleration. That is 15 times the sun's XL due to gravity. He is clearly confused. Yes, he was definitely confused.
Johnny, thank you, Johnny. Wait a minute. I think I have a Here's Johnny button. Hold on. Where is it?
Doc Holliday.
Here's Johnny.
Oh, that's, yeah. Okay.
Here's Johnny.
Red rum.
I got fun for everybody.
Doc Holly Dixie. Ed, is it abnormal for an expert witness to come across this hostile on cross? Absolutely. Ed, did anything Welcher say stand up as reasonable?
Poquito?
Well, when he admitted that he didn't have all of the necessary data to make some of these conclusions. Okay, but that's where he went. He admitted that, but yet he still gave an opinion at the end of all his testimony, knowing that he didn't have all the data. How do you do that? It isn't. That's juxtaposed to what you're supposed to do.
Agreed.
If you don't have all the data, you shouldn't be making those kind of conclusions.
But he did. Sharon Creates, great friend of the channel member, DutyRon and Ed. Where was the
Top Guns?
Where was the biomedical part of his report?
Yeah. Did anybody see the part where he took a shot at the ME? I'm sorry.
Where was that? Towards the end?
It was towards the end.
For fuck's sake. I don't have it, so I'd have to scan through it all. It's too much. But he did take a shot at the ME. I think this is it right here. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad look, in my opinion.
And a drop distance as low as 40 inches.
Right. And is the number 634 pounds a proper number for an average force?
I'm not going to be able to find it. They're talking about the force. This goes on and on and on. They're in circles. All right, listen, on behalf of Crime Time with DutyRon and Ed Wallace, we want to thank you. And again, we always have to remind ourselves that this is about police officer John O'Keefe. He was found murdered dead on the front lawn of 34 Fairview, and we do not know to this day. And I will say this, I don't think we'll ever know what happened to police officer John O'Keefe. That's the unfortunate part about this. That's the sad part about this. We see his parents, we see his mom in court every day, his brother, friends and families. My heart breaks for them. And I'm not crucial, or going to go and pick them apart because they're victims' families. I'm not going to do that. There's other people that do that, and they find fault in them for standing behind the prosecution, the Commonwealth. That's their choice. And I will never go and attack a dead man's family, especially his mom, especially his dad, no matter how strongly I feel about it. That's just me. I'm just speaking to you guys from my heart and how I operate. I can never feel good about doing that. I don't care how strongly I feel about the case. I would never, ever, ever think of doing that. Ed, how about you?
No, I'm not going to judge them right now. I mean, they're full of pain right now, and their heads are spinning. And so let's wait and pray that we get true justice for John O'Keefe. Okay, because what's happening right now isn't going to help them. It's not what the prosecutors are doing, what the state, the Commonwealth is doing, is not going to help them. And there's no such thing as closure with these things. I don't care what anybody says. They throw that word around all the time. Closure this, closure that. No, you learn to live with it.
Right.
Okay. All right. It's never going to have closure. Every time 9/11 comes around, it's like someone is pulling a scab off on me.
Right.
Okay. So that's just the way it is. And you have to learn to live with it. You have to learn to deal with it, and you have to move forward. You can't live in the past.
Yeah. Kristen put together this montage, dedication, a remembrance, remembering the victim, police officer John O'Keefe. I want to play it, and then we will end the live stream. So I want to thank you guys all. Ed, you always have something to say at the end of these things. So I'll let you say it, and then I'm going to play this, and then we'll segue out. Go ahead, Ed. You got it.
Well, folks, thanks for being here with us. We know your time is valuable, and we know you can get your true crime fix anywhere you like on the internet and YouTube and so forth. So it's an honor for you to share your time, your valuable time with us. Thanks for spreading the word about Ron and myself. And as always, folks, at the end of the day, this is about our victims and justice for the victims. But I always want you to be safe, be prepared, and watch your six.
Amen, Ed. Thank you for that. This is just 1 minute and 32. Let's take a listen. Thank you, Kristen, for putting this together.
True blue heart, a badge of grace, no shadow you wouldn't face. When fate struck hard and grief cut deep, you chose to stand, not sit and weep. You opened wide your humble door, where children found a home once more. There's nothing you wouldn't do to lift the world up that leaned on you. Every heartbeat in this town now marches toward what's right. Justice may lose its footing, yet truth commands the night. Those who shield their secrets, hiding wrongs behind their lies, will meet the light you carried blazing bright across their skies.
His casket as it was carried into a church in Braintree. The 46-year-old was well respected among his peers, and he raised his niece and nephew when his sister and her husband died.